Hello, everybody. This is Bet99's The Parleh Show. We are live on Sports Grid. Rob Conway with you. Justin Pooney, as
Yes,
always.
sir.
It is a busy, busy day. The day after the Major League Baseball trade deadline. Not as many big names as we hoped to move, but a few. The Mets definitely did some business, including Justin Verlander returning back to Houston, where he was, their number one ace and a World Series champion. And the Jays did a little bit of work with Paul DeJong. Unfortunately, struggling right now against the Baltimore Orioles.
Orioles. Let's see what your mind is.
Yeah, and it's lunchtime. And definitely important games coming up. They got two more with them. They've been just atrocious against the AL East. But we'll have Sean McCormick joining us later to get a deep dive into what's going on with the Blue Jays, as well as some NFL talk. We'll play Lay Your Money Down as well. But we were just chatting with Ellie, one of our producers, about a 150 cent.
Yeah, he was at, of course, Bet99.
We were there.
At every single concert you can think of this summer in Toronto. Of course, the one I really, really wanted to go to was 50 Cent. Unfortunately, wasn't able to. But producer Ellie was telling me that 50 stole the show, put everything possible out there, played in the club, Hit 'em up. No, I'm sorry, not Hit 'em up. Hate or Love It.
Hate or Love It.
Many Men.
Many Men.
And that got us talking. What's your favorite 50 Cent song of all time?
I probably won't know the name. I do like Many Men. That's a good one. In the Clubs, obviously, was his first one. That was classic, but...
PIMP?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. See, that's another amazing song. I would have never thought about the name of that song. It was Ellie and Ari telling us about it. But yeah, no, it was funny because we wanted to talk a little bit about this, but we needed to segue into how we could talk about 50 Cent at the top and make it relevant to what's going on today.
Justin Verlander.
And
maybe then Stephen Cole needs to call 50 to pitch for them. Now his pitch wasn't very good. Maybe he's worked on it.
Maybe he's worked on his slider. No, well, he did. We believe that he threw that one of the worst first pitches you've ever seen.
Him or McGregor, I think, would have.
It was just because, you'd expect, especially McGregor, he's an athlete. You expect him to have a little bit of an arm. Anyways, I was with the New York Mets, and the New York Mets did a lot of business yesterday,
yes,
and that was with Justin Verlander going back to the Astros, where he was last year, had an amazing season, World Series champion as well there. Just throwing a no-hitter with the Astros. So, obviously, some good vibes. Hasn't had the greatest season, but if you look at that division, the AL West, right? We got the Rangers. They had the other pitcher from the Mets in Scherzer.
Scherzer, yeah.
Bit of an arms race there. Seattle, they're trying to find a way back in the wild card.
500
and Oakland,
right now,
everyone's just going to beat up on Oakland. So, what do you like in that division now that they've added? Obviously, look at Framber Valdez last night.
No-hitter
not
for
too
Fran.
bad, right?
Exactly.
No-hitter. The Rangers have one of the best offenses in the game. Where are you in that division? Where do you like right now?
I picked the Mariners to win the division at the beginning of the season because I thought that the what they did last year, finally breaking the that long playoff drought, and then beating the Jays and adding Teoscar Hernandez and having Julio Rodriguez. They did have the best July in baseball, right? They got hot at the right time. That's why they probably didn't trade Teoscar Hernandez when everybody was talking about he was going to get dealt. They traded Paul Sewald. I think the Mariners are sneaky to get back in the wild card race. As for the division, right now Houston and Texas are only separated by a game or a game, I believe. I'm going to go with the Astros. I think the Astros have the pedigree of winning. They are the Houston Astros. They are probably the closest thing we've had to a dynasty in baseball in the last little while, since the San Francisco Giants in the mid to early 2010s. They are the gold standard in baseball. They still have all their big names. They just added back Justin Verlander, right? I'm gonna go with the Houston Astros to win that division, but the Rangers, they spent a whole lot of money. Now they're seeing their return on investment on that. I just think that they'll be a tough out, but right now at this time of year, you need guys to know how to win baseball games, and the Houston Astros have that.
Yeah, and with Verlander now and Valdez to go with, whether it's Javier or who else, Lance McCullers might be coming back. They were hurt at the rotations, in starting pitching, so that's kind of why they needed to add a guy like Verlander. And again, the comfort level is there. They added Kendall Graveman to be a set man for Presley. They have their big names. The guys like Altuve and Bregman are still around, and then Yordan Alvarez obviously has been unbelievable in his breakthrough. Pena as well. Don't have Correa and don't have Springer, but from that kind of crew that was dominating.
They've showed that they've been fine with
exactly.
Right?
So I'm with you. I think the Rangers, it's to be the man, you got to beat the man, and we'll see if they can pull it out. But that's a real Ricky Flair.
I was gonna wait for the woo.
But no, it's I'm gonna go with the Astros for now.
Yeah.
I love the Verlander ad. I mean, he hasn't had a great year. I don't know if I'm gonna love it if he gets 140 innings next year and they have to pay him in 2025 as well. But for now, and you're trying to win now, that's what you want to do.
Well, the other thing is the Mets are on the hook for still $54 million of Verlander's contract. So that just shows you that, yes, Stephen Cohen's got some
$90 million he's paying for these guys to play on other teams.
Exactly. That's crazy to me. But I was thinking about the Mets and what they've done, with Lindor and all the pitching they've spent money on and all this money they've spent since Stephen Cohen's taken over. It hasn't worked out really. Yes, they had a playoff run a couple years ago, but really they haven't done much. And I don't know if it's because they're the second team in New York, like the Angels, the second team in LA. If it's just that kind of stench that's still always on the Mets, but it hasn't been good. And I was wondering, is this one of the biggest, not failures in baseball, but one of the biggest disappointments in recent memory in baseball, just with the Mets and all the money they've spent and all the names they're trying to attract where they haven't done anything?
100%. Right now they're paying $6 million a win. It's crazy.
Nuts.
Right? It's crazy how much money for them to be this unsuccessful is terrible. And nothing against what Steve Cohen did. That's great. I think it was awesome that he decided to push that team over the top with money. But unfortunately, as you can see, that doesn't always work. He had a guy like Lindor. It doesn't seem to be, working on at a high level. Pete Alonso's having a bit of down year. You get Scherzer and Verlander, you're hoping to get a season or two out of them, and they just didn't seem to click. And then right out of the gate, they lost their closer as well, which was from the World Baseball Classic. So it just got off to a bad start.
And for Mets fans, I know there's a lot more Yankee fans out there than Mets fans, but for those loyal Mets fans that have seen, this team, win World Series back in, I think it was 86 or whatever.
Yeah.
It must be disappointing to see these guys just constantly never, doing anything of
Clippers
substance.
fans can feel your pain. All right, we're going to get into what the Blue Jays did last night against the AL East leading Orioles with Sean McCormick after this. All right, welcome back to Bet99's The Parleh Show. Joining myself and Justin now is Sean McCormick. We're going to get into a little bit of baseball talk. We'll play Lay Your Money Down, and then looks like we have a little NFL, PGA. We got tons of stuff to get through.
You know what I want to talk about the Mets? You know how there was the curse of the Bambino for the Red Sox? Mm-hmm. Maybe it's the curse of Bobby Bonilla for the Mets.
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
I'm looking at some of their deferred salaries and what they still have on the books. Like, of course, you have $43 million for Scherzer, Verlander, $20 million for Robinson Cano. Who knows what Robinson Cano is now? James McCann, $11 million. Eduardo Escobar, $9 million. Tommy Pham, $4 million. And you're still paying Bobby Bonilla $1.2 schmil. As well, I don't know for how much longer. It must be coming to an end soon.
No, probably not. It's probably
maybe not. But I'm saying maybe it's the curse of Bobby Bonilla. Maybe until Bobby Bonilla is officially off the books for the New York Mets, will they finally do something of significance?
Maybe.
I mean, that's a while from now still. So,
yeah.
he brings up a good point. I was a little baffled by them selling as much as they did at the deadline and the week before with Scherzer.
Well, we got Scherzer. We have some sound on tape from Scherzer, so let's get to that right here.
That the team is now kind of shifting vision and that they're looking to compete now for 2025 and 2026. And that 2024, it was not going to be a reload situation in New York, and that it was going to be more of a transition in 2024, and that we're looking to make decisions for to compete outside my contract window. I said, okay, that's a brand news to me, different than what I'd ever heard out of Steve's mouth. I was like, all right, I got to hear this directly from Steve. So I had a phone call with Steve, and he basically articulated the same vantage point, that was the new vision for the Mets.
Interesting that he decided to be that open about it, and also interesting that the Mets decided to do that, considering they're currently spending $350 million on a team trying to win, and then 110 games later or whatever it is, they decide, no, actually we're good. We're gonna punt this year and next year and try and compete in 2025, 2026. Now maybe they're also you're giving me a little bit, I don't know, Justin, and maybe they're just being nice.
Billionaires are impulsive, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to sit on their hands, and who knows, maybe they swing big for one Shohei Ohtani.
Maybe they were just being nice to Scherzer. It's not you, it's me. And then when
maybe.
he's gone, they're like, no, we're reloading for 2024.
Yeah.
We just don't want you on the team.
I mean, these guys are still top of their game. Are they as good as they were a few years ago? No, they're getting a little bit older.
Sure.
Justin Verlander's in his 40s now. Max Scherzer's just a few years younger than that, right? But both guys dealt with a couple of injuries, but Verlander's pitching very well in his last few games, and now he gets to go to the Astros and pitch well for a World Series run. I said yesterday that I think you can say this, and maybe that's what the plan was. You know, maybe, hey, we're going to try to rebuild, but maybe that was because they thought that Ohtani was going to get traded. And now that Ohtani's going to enter the free agency market, maybe, I mean, why wouldn't Steve Cohen and the Mets want Shohei Ohtani, right? And in order to get him, even though Steve Cohen's worth $18 billion or whatever he's worth, and the money probably doesn't matter as much to you or him as it does you and me.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what the plan is just sell off Verlander, who's older, sell off Scherzer, who's older. You sell off Pham, who's just a rental piece anyways. And you try to bring in a Shohei Ohtani because, I mean, again, you bring in one player, again, you're not maybe in the same position to win as you thought you were this year, but you've got Kodai Senga, you've got Edwin Diaz going to come back maybe this year, but more than likely next year, especially if you're out of it. Why would you bring him back? You've got Brandon Nimmo, who you signed this year to an 8-year $162 million deal. It just seems like they threw everything at this season, and for whatever reason it didn't work, and maybe they do need to retool, but you're not fooling me, Steve Cohen. I don't think you're going to sit on your wallet next year and not spend anything.
I mean, he's spending $155 million on retained salary this year.
Nice.
$150 million on retained salary, $146 million on actual players.
I'm not going to put you on the spot, but how many more teams is that total than their entire payroll? Probably a lot. 20 teams.
Yeah, exactly.
20 teams probably.
And I think that what the Mets have done is they've shown that kind of like what the Angels have done too is just maybe money doesn't buy you a good team. Right?
Well, it doesn't. It
does.
Can.
Well, I mean, for the Yankees, it worked.
Yeah,
for how
it
many
can,
years,
but
right?
it doesn't guarantee you.
The Dodgers,
anything.
it worked, right?
Yeah.
For at least where they made it to the playoffs and were successful, and they finally broke through and won a World Series. But whatever, I think Steve Cohen, he's worth $18 billion. He didn't get to that point by sitting on his hands and being patient. I think once the winter hits and free agency opens up, I expect the Mets to be right back in it and being aggressive and spending a whole lot of money to try to get this thing to work.
Especially if they do get Shohei Ohtani, the one part of the pitch is going to be we're not wasting any time.
No.
Right?
No.
And so if they do sign him, then he's going to have to sign other guys.
And then the payroll's just back up to being the highest in the league.
Yeah.
So the league average is $164 million. 15 teams reached that mark of $162 million. The Twins are at team number 16 at $153 million. So
it's more than
half the league.
Yeah, well, I was close. All right, let's talk about the Blue Jays. They dropped the first 2 games against Baltimore. Look, that's a good Baltimore team. They made an addition yesterday at the deadline in Jack Flaherty from the Cardinals, who were apparently the only team that was willing to trade anybody, especially to the AL East. The Toronto Blue Jays made 3. I've never heard of this before. 3 trade deadline deals, all separate.
With the same team.
With the same team. That's what I meant. With the same team. Like they have Cabrera, and then they land Hicks, and then they land DeYoung, and I guess they were talking about all 3 of them the whole time, but it's just like, okay, let's leave Hicks for a second. Let's go. No, we got nothing else. Okay, bring Hicks over. Let's leave okay, now we'll bring him to. It's craziness, but anyway, nonetheless, the Jays got destroyed yesterday. It was a close game for a long time, and then the bullpen came in and didn't really work out. Hyun-Jin Ryu gave up, I believe, 4 runs. Look, 7-22 is unacceptable against the AL East, but last season they were unbelievable against the AL East. They dominated the Boston Red Sox, some crazy 16-2 or something like that. It is what it is. But these games against Baltimore are extremely important, not just because of the fact that you're trying to track this team down in the division. They're in the last wild card playoff spot now, and teams like Boston, who I was surprised didn't make any moves, and same as the Yankees. The Yankees are, I think, done, but like the Angels reloaded huge. They're still a ton of games out, but they're going to be pushing. You have the Red Sox. Justin likes Seattle, getting back into it as well. So it's not just you're trying to track down the division. You're trying to, Heisman the rest of the league to keep your wild card spot.
Yeah, and I don't like what I'm seeing over the past week or so. It's just, again, I hate to say this word again and again. It's inconsistency from the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm not going to put too much stock into what we saw from Hyun-Jin Ryu yesterday. I mean, it's his first start back in over a year for the Blue Jays. But I am a little worried. I was a little worried, just with what he brings to the table. He throws a lot of pitches, which is good, but none of them are at a high velocity. Yesterday I believe he had 9 batted balls in play that were hit over 99 miles an hour. So people were hitting him hard. He gave up 9 hits, just 4 runs, which, I mean, just 4 runs. The Jays only scored 3, so that was enough for them to lose the game yesterday. But I'll wait to see what Ryu can do, maybe against, again, a lesser offense. I mean, the Baltimore Orioles have a fantastic offense up and down that lineup. And yeah, you're right, Rob. I mean, they have to hold off the rest of the league, and we'll get to it in our next segment, but it just seems to me like, I mean, I know there's 50 games left, 55 games left, something like that, but it just seems to me like there's only one playoff spot available. To me, it seems like the Astros and the Rays will hold the wild card spots. And it's just one spot left for either the Jays, the Angels, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Mariners to get. So we'll get to that. I don't want to spoil where I'm leaning on who will make the playoffs, but the Jays gotta put some stuff together here, or else they might be on the outside looking
exactly. And I think when you look at the current standings of the wild card, Boston's been playing they're 6-4 in their last 10. The Angels are 6-4. Yankees are 5-5. Seattle 6-4. Right, so these teams that are playing fairly good baseball, and then the Jays are playing. They've lost 3 straight right now. You're going up against Tampa next after this, and it's gonna. Not
Boston.
Tampa, Boston. A team that's only a game and a half behind, and that's a massive, massive series. We could be talking next week where the Jays could be out of a playoff spot.
Easily.
It's very feasible. This team really needs to just find something, do something to just really, maybe it's an outstanding pitching performance that we saw from Framber Valdez, right?
Yeah.
To just turn this page or something to give this team a spark, because it's lifeless right now.
Yeah, it is. And the Baltimore Orioles, really good team, a young team, perhaps thinking, they're too young to know how this is not supposed to be this easy for them as they head towards the playoffs. We'll talk more baseball with a little lay your money down after this. All right, welcome back to Bet99's The Parleh Show. Rob Conway, Justin Pooney, and Sean McCormick with you. We're going to play a little game we like to call Lay Your Money Down, where I give you guys basically pick one side or the other, and you decide what side to lay your money down on. That was a great explanation of what the show is.
That's what it is. So, you nailed it.
You fumbled a little bit, though, but you picked up.
We've only played it a couple times. I got to keep working on that. So,
It's a pretty simple concept.
Yeah. All right, lay your money down.
Here we go. Finally, suspense is
American League team to win the World Series. Were you going to lay your money down on the AL or the NL to win the World Series?
So just like any American League,
or
just the team for the American League.
Do you think the American League is better than the NL?
Honestly, with the Dodgers and the Braves in the National League, it's hard to bet against them. I'm gonna keep my money and stick it. Keep my trust in the Braves and the Dodgers in the National League.
Okay. Yeah. American League for me. My pick before the season started was the easy top of the board favorite, the Houston Astros. I'm going to stick with the Houston Astros.
Okay.
I mean, they just landed Verlander. They're getting healthy. Altuve's back. Jordan Alvarez is back. They've got some solid pitching 1 through 5 in the rotation. Their bullpen ranks in just outside the top 10 in the league, I think, but it's pretty close with the rest of the 7 through 10, so I'm not too concerned about their bullpen. But Valdez, who just threw a no-hitter, Verlander, who's thrown multiple no-hitters. Javier's been a bit of a gas can this year, but he can turn it on. And then you've got JP France, Hunter Brown. It's a solid team, solid lineup with Abreu and Tucker and Bregman and Altuve. I really like the Astros, and I think they're around plus 580 to win the World Series, like the third favorite here on Bet99. So I'm going to lean with the Astros.
All right, I'm going to go with the American League, and I was going to say the NL because what you said, Justin. I think the Braves are the best team in baseball.
Sure.
And there's a good chance that if they make the World Series that, it goes through Atlanta because they have the best record. But after that, I am not sold on any single team in the National League. The Dodgers, the Reds, the Giants, the Phillies, the Brewers, and if the Diamondbacks, Marlins, or Cubs, or Padres, actually, if they make the playoffs, they're going to win the World Series because they're going to they'll be the hottest team in baseball.
I was saving that for tomorrow.
But they'll be the hottest team in baseball. But
they're like plus 3,400
to
win the World Series.
We're laying our money down on that. Well, that's a teaser for tomorrow. But I'm going with the American League, and it's because of the fact that after the Braves, I think all the best teams come from there. I would be much more comfortable with the favorite in the World Series being, if it wasn't the Braves representing the National League, for the Orioles, Rangers, Rays, Astros, Jays to all be the favorite, I think, there. I'm not a big fan of the Central, obviously, but I don't expect the Twins or the Guardians to make their way to the World Series. So I'm pretty comfortable with the AL being the favorite if the Braves don't make it, and that's just a lot of work. It's just tough to win that many series and get yourself to the World Series. So I'm going with the American League as the side I will lay my money down on. Okay. Speaking of that awesome American League Central, who will win the American League Central? It is the Guardians or the Twins are basically your only options.
Yeah.
Sean, I'll start with you.
I mean, my pick would be the Twins, but the value's on the Guardians, I think.
What is it, like minus 313 for the Twins to win the division? Which is silly.
And plus 250 for the Guardians, right?
Yeah.
So they're only 2 games back of the Twins right now, and they've got a good young pitching staff. I don't like that they just traded away Aaron Savale, but you've got one of the best closers in the game, Emmanuel Clase. You've got one of the best players in the game, in Jose Ramirez. You've got some nice young hitters there as well. I don't know. It's a forgotten division,
Well, it should be forgotten. Look at their.
I mean, every team in the AL East would be leading that division.
Yeah.
So I mean, I agree with you. I don't expect either of them to make it out of the first round of the playoffs. But I'll take the Guardians just for the value.
Something to be said with the Jays right now, saying that they are in the last wild card spot, because you may want to be in the last wild. And in fact, you want to be in the last wild card spot if you don't win the division, because you're going to play the Twins or the Guardians. What do you got?
I'm going to go with the Twins. I think when you look at the run differential in this division, the Twins are the only team that have a positive run differential, plus 35. The Guardians are at a 0 right now, which is flat even, and then it falls off a cliff from there. A big cliff, yeah. I think the Twins are going to win this division. They're just it's like pick your poison. It's like the NFC South for all those years. When a 7-9 team was going to win the division, or when Seattle won the NFC West at 7-9. It's like, all right, it's a nice who is the best worst team.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just again, since we're on Bet 99's the Parleh show, I'm just I'm trying to make a little value. I feel like they're not too separated in their roster, so may as well try to make a little extra
there's
money.
no value in the Twins.
No.
There's no value.
I'd rather just keep my money
whatsoever. Yeah. Will the Toronto Blue Jays make the playoffs? I'll go first, and the answer is yes. I don't foresee them falling apart enough to not be able to do that. They play. The schedule's tough, but I think they play enough teams that also will keep them in the mix. And if they win those games, they might even be able to track down the Rays and the Orioles. So I think they'll be fine. But they need to start playing better and fast.
I think they have the best roster of any of the teams in the wild card hunt.
Yeah.
Between the Angels and the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Mariners. I think they will too. And again, we'll get to where I think the value is after this. But it would be such a letdown with the way this pitching staff has pitched all year and the lineup that you have is actually, I mean, on paper, it's supposed to be pretty good. Wake up, George Springer. You're 1 for 50 in your last 50 plate appearances.
Not pretty.
That is embarrassing. And I mean, getting demoted, rightfully so. Whit Merrifield's been hitting well for the Jays. But all around best roster of these teams. So I would think that my answer would also be yes. But man, are they making it tougher on themselves than it needs to be?
Yes.
You said on paper they have the best team, but we haven't been the best team on the field, right?
No, I agree.
I don't know, guys. Just the record with the AL East has been so bad.
Yeah.
Just so bad this season. And those games are weighted differently. They mean a whole lot more. And there's still some AL East games to come, right? As the season progresses, as we head down the stretch run. I'm going to say no. Just because of that factor. They've been too inconsistent. They can't win in the division. We keep on thinking they're going to turn the corner here. They're going to put together a good performance. Okay, this is the corner has been turned. They're now going to build some wins together, and it never happens. And I think we're too far gone now to expect them to turn around and go on a heater. I think that we're getting into August now, and it's not a good start to August yet. And they're just again hoping and praying for another September miracle that they can ride high. I don't know. It's hard to play that game. I think they're good on paper, but I just think the bad record against the AL East and the inconsistent play is going to continue, and they are what they are, and they're going to miss the playoffs.
Wow. Well, then, if that's the case, Justin, we have 3 teams, and one of them more than likely will make the playoffs, and they all have pretty good odds. So we'll start with the Los Angeles Angels. Will they make the playoffs? Lay your money down, yes, plus 540, or no, minus 834.
No.
Okay, no. I'm going to just run them all for you. How about the Boston Red Sox at plus 290, minus 385 for no?
No.
Okay, and then
he's gonna go with his
the last
hometown
one,
Mariners.
the Seattle Mariners, plus 360, minus 500.
I said earlier in the show, so yeah, Mariners are going to make the playoffs.
Okay, and why? What do you got for the Mariners?
You know what? Like,
He's got love. He's got
Other than
love.
that,
I got love for the Mariners. No, I think like they have a decent lineup. Like on paper too, they have a good lineup. They have a good team. They played it well in July. I think they didn't trade Teoscar Hernandez.
What does it say that they traded Paul Sewell? I mean, that's their closer.
It's fine.
Munoz is good. I have him
He
in
is.
fantasy, so
Right. They have
in your
Luis-
AL only.
in my
They
only
have
fantasy keeper
Luis
league.
Castillo, right? A very good starting pitcher.
yeah,
elite
Kirby's
starting
great.
pitcher. Kirby
Gilbert's
too,
good.
right? So I mean, look,
Julio Rodriguez.
Julio's a stud, right? You know what? I'm gonna go with the Mariners. They're gonna
All
get hot. They're gonna ride the wave to the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, I just think they're playing. I mean, it's the second toughest division in the AL. I mean, again, we talked about the dumpster fire that the Central is. Just you're gonna have to play a lot of games against the Astros and the Rangers,
And they're gonna be scrapping for wins.
and even the Angels, right? So it's gonna be tough down the stretch for the Mariners, tough down the stretch for the Angels. Obviously, tough down. It's just a
It's gonna be a
killer.
dogfight.
It's a fully loaded division. It's just like the AL East. All the issues you're talking about with the Toronto Blue Jays or the Boston Red Sox is the exact same thing in the West right now, because those top teams are great, but they're nothing secure.
Yeah.
There isn't anyone, punting a few games away, not at the bottom of the division, not at the top of the division. So it's going to be
The
hard.
Blue Jays are punting games away right now.
Okay, they are, but not on purpose. They're not doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
They're trying to win these games. But I mean, for me, you have the Toronto Blue Jays, Sean. I think that they hold on to this playoff spot. But if there was a team in here that I'd want to make the playoffs, it's the Los Angeles Angels. I mean, we want Shohei Ohtani. We want Mike Trout to have some important at-bats. So
do we?
I'm not as excited
No,
to
I
see
wanna see
Julio
Ohtani
Rodriguez and
I
Luis
I want to see
Castillo.
Ohtani in the playoffs because
Yeah.
finally, after all this praise he's been getting and all this, he's the best athlete of all time.
I didn't know.
No, he's the best baseball player of all time. Well, you think it'll be right about time now. He makes the playoffs for the first time ever in his career.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Absolutely.
Right?
There's no. I used to say this all the time
Writing
about
the
Connor
Yankees
McDavid.
off too, though.
I used to say this
Yeah.
about Connor McDavid all the time too. When the Oilers were terrible, was if you have the clear cut best player in the sport and you don't make the playoffs, he should become an automatic free agent, and be able to leave.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous. You can't have Connor McDavid and struggle to make the playoffs. You can't have Shohei Ohtani and struggle to make the playoffs.
That's
you have
my
to figure it
argument.
out.
But so is Ohtani really that great? then?
Yes, because Connor McDavid's also really that great.
Justin just asked if I'm writing off the Yankees. I am. They have the #1 bullpen in the league, but their starters are just trash right now.
Yeah.
Domingo Germán, Rodon hasn't pitched well. Severino's getting lit up. We'll see how Garrett Cole does tonight against the Rays.
Good matchup there, Shane McClanahan.
Oh
too.
yeah, for sure. I would agree with you, Bobby. The value on the Angels at plus 540, just to see what this lineup can do now with Crone and Grichuk. They'll get Trout back in a couple of weeks, probably. Ohtani, obviously, and then adding Giolito. We'll see. I mean, that's great value at plus 540. They're only 3 games out, so
Yeah.
lots of games left. We'll see what they can do.
Absolutely, we will. It should be a fascinating run down the stretch here in Major League Baseball. But coming up next, we're going to talk about Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson. Is it 2001 again? But they're always in the news in the PGA Tour. And a little bit of NFL as well when it comes to Cooper Kupp and Calvin Ridley. Rob, Sean, and Justin will be here after this. All right, welcome back to Bet 99's The Parleh Show. Rob Conway in Toronto with Sean McCormick and Justin Pooney.
Sound effect.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I'm trying to make it my thing. It's probably, I don't know.
Your
I like the
thing.
guns.
Is it
It's double
sticking?
Guns.
That's the thing.
Who cares? You
Who
know,
cares, yeah.
it's
We'll have
a
a
thing.
vote. We'll have
It's a thing,
a poll on Twitter X.
Is that what it's? You calling it Twitter X now?
You know that when you go to retweet now, it just says repost.
Yes,
That's
I
it. Say
noticed that.
retweet.
Oh, they're slowly getting rid
They're
of it.
getting rid of it.
Wow.
What are your thoughts on that? Rebranding like that.
Whatever, man. It is.
I'm usually okay with rebranding, but it seems
So to me, like, it'll be sort of like the Sky Dome. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
It's still gonna be Twitter.
It'll always be Twitter to me, I think. Just like it's always the Sky Dome or Cops Coliseum. to
But
me.
like, do you know why it's called Twitter and why you tweet
Or
and why there's a
Alpha One
bird?
Stadium.
Because of the messaging.
Right. You're like tweeting out. You're like a bird singing
yeah.
or whatever, and like you're.
Yeah.
So what is X? Doesn't do anything.
It's Elon Musk.
Told you it's his brand. It's like the SpaceX brand. It'll have some sort of X, like it'll be like, I don't know how he's gonna.
It'll
do
be
it,
something that
something X will
Yeah.
be. It'll like have a word next to the X, tweet X, but like
Twitter
again,
X.
the logo.
I called it right there.
There you go.
Elon, there you go. I'll take $100 million for that.
Yeah.
Twitter X.
Between Elon and Steve Cohen,
I've seen some actually really nice logos people have made for Elon. It's like a bird with the X one way is like the wings and the bird's the other way. It's sort of really lovely
Okay.
things. We can go with that.
Give me like 6 minutes. I'm just gonna Google it.
6 minutes.
6 minutes to Google what? The new logo?
Yeah,
My
yeah.
parents can Google faster than that. What are you talking
Jesus.
about? All right, let's get into a little NFL action. While you're Googling over there, we'll get
Googling
back to you in
online.
10 minutes. Cooper Kupp leaves the Rams practice
Yep.
with hamstring injury. This is good news for the Seattle Seahawks and Justin Pooney.
I want to see
no
guys
one ever
get
I know,
hurt.
just kidding. No one ever actually wants to see players get hurt. But, yeah, big deal. Because, look, if this team's going to go, there's certain players that have to be firing on all cylinders, and Cooper Kupp, Justin, is one of them.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp, again, he was hurt last year, but the year before that, won the Triple Crown, was a major factor in the Rams winning the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl MVP.
Super Bowl MVP, exactly. He's going to be out a few weeks. Now, it doesn't look like it's too serious, but this thing, hamstring injuries can linger on in the season, right? And they become a huge problem later on in the season. And for a Rams team that I think is, we talked about with the Mets, is in a transition year, a reset year where they can finally get all their draft picks back, get some bad contracts off the books, some dead money off the books. Some people think that they're going to be back in the Super Bowl chase. I don't see that whatsoever. I think this team's more so going to be a bottom of the barrel team with the Arizona Cardinals. They still have Aaron Donald. Yes, they still have Matt Stafford, but at what capacity? We know Matt Stafford, his game plan is just give the ball to Cooper Kupp as much as possible.
Why wouldn't it be?
Exactly. But if Cooper Kupp's hobbled into the season and he misses a few games, this is something that might become a bigger issue for the LA Rams. If I'm the Rams, though, honestly, I just try to just take it easy this year and try to just, get your young players some experience. They drafted a whole lot of players this year in the draft. They have a bunch of young players on defense. Give them an opportunity to grow, see what you got there. And if you can, upset a few teams, then might as well be it. But I don't think the Super Bowl or playoffs should be the aspirations for the Rams because they got their Super Bowl ring. They sold their soul for the Super Bowl. They got it, and now they have to face the ramifications at least for one more year. And then maybe next year, once their cap frees up and stuff like that, they can make some more moves.
Yeah, I mean, if Kupp is out for any prolonged period of time, I mean, I agree with this team is in a rebuild. This team is going to be in my opinion, near the bottom of the league. 5-6 wins. That's where I have them projected. If you look at Bet99, the over/under is 6.5, with a little juice coming to the over. And just if they're without Kupp, they have Demarcus Robinson, Ben Skoranek, Van Jefferson, like these are like make up a name players, right? Like I mean, Van Jefferson's had a good.
He's had some moments,
sure,
moments.
Just rough for the Rams, and who knows if Stafford can stay healthy? Who knows now if Kupp is gonna deal with this? He had surgery last year for a high ankle sprain, and I mean he's projected probably to get like 1,250 yards this season.
At least,
somewhere
be a
like
fantasy
that.
monster once again, touchdowns,
And,
receptions.
Do you then say to yourself, okay, the cupboard's bare, right? Like you said, sold their soul.
Cupboard.
The cupboard.
Cupboard.
He's trying to make a joke about Cooper Kupp and cupboard.
Another sound effect.
Guys, I'm sorry. I had to. Sometimes the common sense has to interject. And
Yeah. But would you trade Aaron Donald then? Try and get some pieces back. Because what would he return? Got to be a first or a couple firsts there.
I don't know. I don't think so.
You don't think so,
I don't think that you could trade a guy like Aaron Donald who's, you question retirement.
I know he
after
has,
the
and he's
Super
one of the
Bowl.
greatest defensive players of all time already, but he is still. I mean, he got hurt last year, then last year shut down. But he is easily.
I just think Aaron Donald's a
in the
guy
prime
that's
of his
going to
career.
stay with the Rams for life. He's a Ram for life.
Yeah.
I don't see it being like a Von Miller situation where they trade him at the deadline. Now, who knows? Things
Khalil
might
Mack
change.
moved. Let the guys move.
Again, yes, but I think Aaron Donald's been with the Rams since they were in St. Louis. They, all the mediocrity with Jeff Fisher. Then they come up with McVay. They lose in the Super Bowl. They take a little downturn. They get Matt Stafford, and they're back. They win a Super Bowl. I just see him being a Ram for life. I don't see him wanting to get out of LA.
I thought he was a bit younger. He's 32. I thought
He's
he was
32, right? So
29-ish.
he's only got a few more years
Yeah.
left. And we'll see. Look, with the Rams, with McVay, McVay can always has the opportunity to leave for TV anyway, too. He almost thought about that, too.
Sure.
So I think with the Rams, what they're going to do is take this year, rebuild, and then after that, again, go full-blown pedal to the metal and try to get back into that Super Bowl chase, because you do play in a market in Los Angeles where you can get lost in the shuffle, right? There's the Lakers, the Dodgers, the Clippers, USC football, UCLA football.
Yeah.
We talked about it yesterday, right? That's going to take off, right? So the Rams will be aggressive once again. I just think for this year, though, they're going to try to just retool and just stand pat.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley making his return after a year-long suspension. He's with the Jags, going to be with Trevor Lawrence. Immediately becomes YR1 there, I think.
Absolutely.
And so expectations for him are that he's going to have a big season, but there was some news here. He's dealing with a toe injury, and he will be limited in practice. Not exactly devastating news, but when you're already a year off, you don't want to miss any time. You want to get back into the swing of things. Coming up next, PGA Tour. There you go.
Yeah.
That was for you.
Yeah, we won't spend too much time on Ridley. I mean, I think I just wanted to bring it up because it's one of those things like where he took some time off in 2021 to deal with mental health, then suspended in 2022, dealing with a toe injury now. I don't think he'll miss any time. He was already the first one out on the practice field yesterday or today. And just, it's just whether you believe in Calvin Ridley. How good can Calvin Ridley be for the Jacksonville Jaguars? I do also think he's a wide receiver one, probably a little bit higher ceiling than Christian Kirk. They could lead the Jags to another playoff run.
Division, the division's available.
They have
right?
that division's won already. They won
Ooh,
the AFC
whoa.
South.
All
That
right.
division is over. The Jacksonville Jaguars already.
I don't mind the
the
Titans.
AFC South champion.
I
It's
don't mind
over.
the Titans.
No, it's over. It's done.
You don't like the Titans, eh?
No.
Mike Vrabel,
When Ryan
Derrick
Tannehill's
Henry,
your
Ryan
quarterback?
Tannehill.
No. No.
They've been to the playoffs with him. They've won the division before with him.
They were the number one seed, and what happened? They sacked Joe Burrow 8 times and still lost the game.
Well, but they won the division.
That's fine. What did they do in the playoffs? Right?
We're not talking about how good they are in the playoffs.
I'm
We're talking about
telling
winning
you
the
this,
division.
the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It's a really bad division. We'll see. I mean,
Look,
Do you want to make a Barney bet where you got to buy us all dinner?
Yeah,
and
buy
dinner?
me dinner.
I don't got the bankroll that Barney has.
Okay.
But look, Calvin Ridley's a guy who had 13, almost 1,400 yards in 15 games back in 2020. He's a guy who's supremely talented. He's going to make Trevor Lawrence's life a whole lot easier. But he's a guy who, he's played 16 games once in his career. That was his rookie year. Then he played 13, played 15, and then played 5. So he hasn't been on the field consistently enough.
Yeah.
Yes, uberly talented. Hopefully this doesn't build into something that lingers on, same with Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
But I do want to see Calvin Ridley healthy. I do want to see him on the field because he's an explosive game breaker. And we know how important of a position that is in the NFL now. You look across the board, you need a number one elite wide receiver if you want to be successful. And the Jacksonville Jaguars got that, at least talent-wise, with Calvin Ridley. So we'll see. I'm excited. They still have Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk, Travis Etienne out of the backfield. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to take a big leap this year. Year 3 for him. Year 2 under Doug Peterson, who's I think Doug Peterson gets slept on a lot as one of the best offensive-minded coaches. Learned under Andy Reid. So it's going to be a big year for the Jags, I expect. So big year for Calvin Ridley, big year for Trevor Lawrence.
Cool. Yeah, no, I agree with that.
All right, heading to the PGA Tour, and Tiger Woods announced as on the player panel for the Tour's board, which I can't believe he wasn't already on that, but probably didn't think to need to. It's a pivotal time in the PGA Tour's kind of life here. No one better than Tiger Woods to be representing the players because he has no... if he wanted money, if that was all part of it, he would already be playing with LIV, right? So he is looking out for what's best for the PGA Tour and for the players. You would think
He
has
also
the
has
money.
a deal with the PGA with that new league. Him and Rory.
Yeah. So I think legacy wise is stuff that he's worrying about. So he's going to worry about making sure that this tour continues. You have a guy like Phil Mickelson on the other side, and he says he wants an apology, which is somewhat understandable because of the fact that he was villainized, for a lot, and now here they are as partners again. But it is what it is to me. With a guy like Phil Mickelson, I don't disagree with him. If I was in his spot, I would have A, probably taken the money, and B, would be kind of annoyed right now that all of a sudden there's all this extra money on the PGA Tour, and now we're all friends again. So why did you guys have to crush me for 2 years? But on the other hand, yeah, I just probably let it go because what difference does it make?
I think it's going back to the Tiger thing. It's kind of interesting to see. We talked about it yesterday with Aaron Rodgers and how his perception and his position and his image has changed over the years, right? Tiger was that guy that nobody liked on the tour, right? He was kind of isolated because he'd killed everybody, right?
Sure.
Now he's like the ambassador for the PGA Tour, the ambassador for the sport of golf, and he was that already. But now, as he's not able to play or anything like that, you see guys like Scheffler, McIlroy, Rahm, the 3 best players in the world, basically saying we want Tiger to be appointed to this policy board. We want him to have an influence, have a say, speak for us because he is the greatest to ever play this game. He is, the guy who put golf in the mainstream. He is, on the Mount Rushmore of athletes, probably of all time, greatest athletes of all time, just what he's done for his sport. It's crazy to see how loved and respected he is now by this younger generation, now that we see, the older generation kind of phase out. So I just want to touch on that, how it's interesting how Tiger's image is now. He's just a global ambassador for the game of golf now, and he's done all of that.
And it's because a lot of the other guys, look, the players that are on tour now, they literally looked up to him. It's not very often in a sport where a guy can be so present and even winning at times with players that literally were children when he was winning at his best and are reasons why they play the sport. You don't see that with Michael Jordan, with the guys that grew up watching him, just because you can't stick around long enough, right? And LeBron is getting to that point with some of the guys, because he's been around for so long. But that would be why they have all this respect for him, and also because they know their bank accounts would not be where they are if it wasn't for Tiger Woods and what he did financially for that sport. This weekend is the Wyndham Championship. It is probably the least important tournament of the year. But there is some good storylines, and the number one, of course, is Justin Thomas. Will he make the FedEx Cup playoffs and then, of course, hopefully get selected for him anyway, hopefully, to the Ryder Cup? Shane Lowry's in the same position right now. He's in 10th in the Euro standings. They're playing together. Adam Scott is in that group. He's trying to get into FedEx. Has nothing to do with the Ryder Cup, but all 3 of them are trying to get into the FedEx Cup playoffs. What do you think for Justin Thomas? I like some of the odds you brought up. I think he's a plus 800, top 5. He needs an 18th, solo 18th to get in. What do you think?
He's missing the cut.
He's missing the cut, plus 190. He's missing
the cut. He's missed the cut in 5 of his last 7 tournaments. This is a weaker field, so maybe
that's irrelevant. The field is irrelevant.
I know. When he's
the way shooting is what he's going to shoot.
The way that he's playing, probably not. I mean, he's not putting very well. That's probably 158th in strokes gained putting. Just not being able to put the ball in the cup is a huge problem for Justin Thomas. And now it's just like sort of a mental thing. He still thinks he's part of the Ryder Cup team. He thinks he'll be a captain's pick, and I'm not so sure. There's a lot of good American players.
I'm sold that he's 100% playing.
I mean, he's got a good record in the Ryder Cup and in the President's Cup, but man, I don't know. He's just been terrible form. JT
will finish top 20, and he'll make the FedEx Cup, and he'll make
top 20.
Yeah, I'm going plus 195 for top 20.
There you go. All right, welcome back to wrap the show here on Bet 99's The Parleh Show. And just to finish that point with Justin Thomas that I was wanting to make about whether or not he's good enough right now playing wise. They can bury him. He doesn't have to play a lot. He has to play. The only day he has to play is the final singles matches. They all 12 guys get out there. Other than that, he can play once. If he's playing well, he plays 2-3 times. If not, you bury him. I just think from a clubhouse standpoint too, there's that element to it. You call the guys and say, "Hey, do you want JT with you?" You already know what Spieth and Fowler, if he's on the team, is going to say. But I think the guys will want him around.
Yeah. Tiger's going to have his influence too. Tiger's going to make sure his boy JT's out there.
Yeah. If you call Tiger, he says he's on the team. He's on the team.
Who's the captain? Zach Johnson.
Zach Johnson.
Yeah,
but who was like,
and now Stuart Zink's like the co-captain.
I don't know, but the point is, he was also. I think I was reading this when he was at the British Open. He was like staying with Zach Johnson.
Yeah.
He's like friends. They're buddies. He's playing.
Well, I don't know if you guys saw this. So yesterday, I think the Ryder Cup posted a video on their social media account, and they asked Tiger who his Mount Rushmore of golfers
was. This was from the President's Cup a few years ago.
Oh, it was in the President's Cup? I saw it got reposted the other day.
Yeah, sick.
And he's like, who's on your Mount Rushmore? He's like, Snead, Bobby Jones, Jack Nicklaus, and he thinks about it, and he looks at the camera, he says me. In the most confident way. I'm like, you know what? That's why you're the greatest golfer of all time.
Yeah, for sure. And he's absolutely right. Well, he's on it. I mean, you can
He is
argue,
the greatest golfer of all time.
argue other guys that are on it. But yeah, it was great. That was awesome. Yeah. All right, let's get to the parlay. We've had Matthew Barnaby bring us down the last couple of days, but hey, it happens. And nothing says more about how hard sports betting can be than when you ride the Cubs, they just get beat 6-5 to lose the parlay. You don't take them the next day and they put up 20 runs.
20 runs.
That's sports betting for you folks. But Barney's not here today, so it's just us three. We're looking to get back in the win circle. I will start first. I have the Boston Red Sox and Cutter Crawford on the road against the Mariners. The Red Sox and the Mariners both fighting for that final wildcard spot that they're trying to get to. Plus 105, though. I like the value there. Justin, what do you got?
I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Phillies.
My Phillies.
Yes, your Phillies. I'm going to ride the Phillies train minus 125 against the Miami Marlins. They had a dramatic win on Tuesday against the Marlins. David Robertson, the newest closer and member of the Miami Marlins, blew it. 3 runs allowed. I'm going to go with the Phillies. I think the Phillies are playing some good baseball right now. So go Phillies.
Going to take the Orioles to keep pounding on the Blue Jays.
But you're probably right.
Grayson Rodriguez against Yusei Kikuchi. The Orioles hit lefties pretty well. And without Bichette, I don't know what the Jays can hit today.
Only reason I took the Phillies yesterday was because I said Sandy Alcantara stinks, and he pitched 8 shutout innings, but you got the win, you get the win. That's the way it is. All right, that parlay plays plus 656. We will see you all tomorrow.